This is the AEW Dynamite October 4th, 2023 featuring Dynamite's 4th anniversary full show results video which takes place at Stockton Arena in Stockton, California. The show started with an interview segment by Renee Paquette with Omega and Jericho talks up their history, going from opposite sides of the ring on the first Dynamite to teaming tonight. The camera pans to reveal Adam Copeland standing there, and he says he's proud to be here for the 4th anniversary and he hopes to be here for the 8th, the 12th, and the 20th. He shakes Jericho's hand. Omega says he was worried when Edge showed up but he's glad to see him and offers a hand and a promise of any help he might need, and Copeland tells them to go stick it to the Don Callis family, and there you go. Then we saw a match between Nick Jackson versus Rey Fenix for the AEW International Championship, and the result of this match was Rey Fenix defeated Nick Jackson by pinfall with a victory roll pin, retaining the AEW International Championship. Then we get footage of Roderick Strong begging Adam Cole for help last week, and we get a new promo from Adam Cole, but the audio quality is underwater and I can't actually make out anything he or Roddy or the Kingdom are saying, but the gist is that Strong got him a mobility scooter for his foot so they can wheel around together. Then we saw the return of Wardlow, and we saw a match between Griff Garrison versus Wardlow, and the result of this match was Wardlow won the match by referee stoppage with the Powerbomb Symphony. Back from the commercial, Renee Paquette interviews Don Callis and Konosuke Takeshita, and Callis says Sammy Guevara pinning Chris Jericho shook AEW to its foundations so bad that the Quack Doctor declared Sammy unfit to compete. But there's no shortage of eager young athletes looking for a chance to be part of this family, so on the advice of Will Ospreay, he reached into the vault and pulled Kyle Fletcher out to team with Takeshita tonight. He tells Chris people remember who wins the war, not the battles, and he means to win the war. The next match happened between Butcher and the Blade and Kip Sabian versus the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass for the AEW World Trios Championship, and the result of this match was the Acclaimed won the match by pinfall with an assisted suplex on Kip Sabian, retaining the AEW World Trios Championship. Then we get the final installment of Toni Storm, Portrait of a Star. She doesn't want to talk about how long she's been wrestling, she wants to talk about now, and she grabs RJ City's lapels to berate him about how he couldn't possibly understand, and we go to break. Then Bullet Club Gold make their entrance and get on the mic, and Colton calls MJF the people's douchebag and mock him for coming up with tofu as a nickname for Switchblade. The Rock Hard Juice Robinson calls Friedman to the ring, promising he can wear his little Halloween costume to come and face them like a man, but he's not a man, no, he's a little itty bitty bloodsucking, and then MJF comes. He says he knows for a fact he didn't attack their boy Tofu, and says he has an idea, a Stockton Street fight right here and right now. He advances on the ring, they run away, and Switchblade is right behind him, hits Blade Runner, and then Jay steals the title belt and puts it on his shoulder to cut a promo. He calls MJF a slimy, gutless coward and says they need a truly elite champion, and that's not Max, but hey, he's fair, prove him wrong, put it on the line at Full Gear. He goes to leave with the belt and guns up, but Max stops him to accept his challenge. The next match happened between Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega versus Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher, and the result of this match was Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega won the match by pinfall with one winged angel from Omega on Kyle Fletcher. Post-match, Powerhouse Will Hobbs attacks Jericho and Omega and beats them down as Don Callis smiles, and Hobbs throws Kenny over the barricade and into the crowd. He breaks a length of steel tubing out of a guardrail and slams the whole rail down on Kenny, and pulls Omega's head and arm through the gap and traps him. Hobbs pulls the barricade off of him, smashes him into some chairs, back into the ring. Callis and Takeshita duct tape Kenny's arms to the ropes. Will goes to smack Kenny with the chair but Callis takes it from him and bashes Omega in the dome with it. Renee Paquette interviews Maxwell Jacob Friedman in the trainer's room while the Acclaimed hover in the background. Max Caster gives MJF a back rub, Friedman pops off and accuses of him of being a weird stalker and runs him off before calling Adam Cole because he can't do this alone, and the call goes to voicemail. The next match happened between Sky Blue versus Toni Storm, and the result of this match was Toni Storm won the match by pinfall with Storm Zero. In the main event of the show, Tony Schiavone is in the ring to introduce and interview Adam Copeland, and the Rated R superstar makes his entrance. Adam says he came out here to talk to all of us and he wants to rewind back to 2011 when he was told he could never do this again, but here we are in 2023 and he's standing in an AEW ring. There's a few reasons he came here, and he'll save the biggest for last. He doesn't know about us, but he's pretty sure the AEW World Championship would look good around his waist, and there's a whole roster of first-time matches for him here. But check it out: Adam Copeland versus Jon Moxley, versus Kenny Omega, versus Miro, versus Powerhouse Will Hobbs, versus Switchblade Jay White, versus Rock Hard Juice Robinson, and those are all great reasons to be here and challenge himself to something new 31 years into his career. Then he call out Christian to come into the ring, and Christian comes, and Edge says he's here because it's time. For the first time since 2011, and for the first time properly in over 20 years. For them to team together again, to face a team like FTR, like the Young Bucks, to show an entire generation of fans why they are inarguably one of the greatest tag teams of all time. So he's out here, hat in hand, asking Christian to end their careers together as a team and show him all what they can do, and Cage looks around conflicted as the crowd chants one more time. He reaches for the mic and Adam gives it to him before they hug, and Christian raises the mic to his mouth and says "Go fuck yourself" mid-hug. Cage leaves to a chorus of boos while a shell-shocked Copeland stares into the distance. On the stage, he speaks again and says before he goes, a quick reminder of what he'll be against on Dynamite next Tuesday. Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne, and they stand with Cage on the stage while Adam scratches his head and looks on, and the show goes off the air.